You can walk. It's not every day you can walk into a tunnel here in D.C., but a huge group of protesters is on their way to the White House. Right now, it is just after 7 p.m. on Thursday, and they are upset about what they saw in Minneapolis yesterday. The ICE agent who shot and killed a United States citizen. You can see we are now just a couple of blocks away from the White House. Police have kind of been leading the way this entire march to make sure that any street this group uses doesn't have any vehicular traffic on it. We'll keep you guys updated once we get to the White House, but a huge, growing group walking from 14th and U Streets all the way to the White House in protest of that ICE Minneapolis shooting where Renee Nicole Good, a United States citizen, was shot and killed by an ICE agent yesterday.
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is your brother M.O.T.B Bayan, coming to you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Alright, and you know, for some of y'all who not really understanding what really taking place here, you know, but you know, through the spirit, you know, it just going back to the same time with this guy, you know, George Floyd, you know, had been deleted, you know, by Edomite, you know, officer, you know, and how everyone had rise up and start fighting against them and so forth because of that deletion of that guy, you know. This is like a repeat, but you know, more on the so-called white side, you know. And you know, this is Esau just basically turning up stuff, you know, and making things reach the extent that he looking to bring forth martial law, you know, civil unrest. You know, this is what they want to do, and they're doing all of this in order to bring forth the agenda, you know, the M.O.T.B. All right, I think I'll name this video also I'll name it "This has to happen before the M.O.T.B. rolls out." All right, so these things that you're seeing happening right now, you know, all these things has to happen before the M.O.T.B. rolls out. All right, so let's take in another video real quick.
Let me be clear. If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time, because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you. This is for any one of your colleagues who thinks they are above the law. Let me be.
All right, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10, and verse 2. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man that ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. All right, so Esau and his officers is Trump. Basically, we talking about here. The Trump is just that cruel lord today. And he is more or less stirring up a lot of chaos. He's that he's puffing at his enemies and whatnot. He's coming down against his enemies. All right. This devil basically wants all to himself. All right. He wants all nations, all kindreds, all people onto himself. And what they want to do is basically bring forth that M.O.T.B. But by bringing a chaotic time. Now I was looking up what causes martial law. All right, I'll just take a screenshot of it. Because sometimes when you go back to look for the same thing, it might give you a slightly different record. Right. Now this one here, it says martial law. Right, this AI overview. It says martial law is caused by severe crisis where civilians rule breaks down, such as war, right? In insurrection, widespread civil unrest. And this is something that Esau looking to bring forth, civil unrest, because he's looking to bring what? Order out of chaos. Right? They know why they're doing these things. This is why you're seeing so many people marching right now, in Babylon, against what took place in Minnesota, Minnesota, I think it is, Minneapolis, and a lot of people seeing what taking place. So when you watch the video, you're clearly seeing the things that they did, towards they tried to do to the woman, and the woman just basically tried to drive away, and they come in with a different story. So basically what you're seeing is that they're lying, and they're actually doing it on purpose to basically stir people up, to make people angry, because they know how people is going to react. All right?
Clear.
The president stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack.
You hear that? So everyone who see the video, apparently they're lying, but these invalids, they know the truth.
Was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot.
And just watching at how he's looking, how he's stuttering, you could tell that he's lying because he's trying to find the word to say. If you knew exactly what was taking place, you would have spit it out completely. It would have just came out your mouth exactly how you saw it. But you're fiddling for words. This is what's going on with him.
Room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before. And everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
You know, and these people are what? Is liars. All right? They lie a lot. You know, we'll come back to this. You know, they lie a lot. You know, they tell you things that is not correct, you know. And, you know, you people have to understand that this is the enemy. All right? Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never trust thy enemy. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Right? Don't ever trust this enemy. Don't ever trust this cruel Lord. Don't ever trust these people, you know, that are doing wickedly. All right? They have basically an agenda to fulfill. All right? And this is why they're coming on with great wrath. Right? This is Psalms 118 and 8. It says, it is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh than to put confidence in princes. All right? And those who are going to trust in the Lord is known as Israelites. All right? The so-called Negroes, the Hispanics, and the Native American Indians today. But first, the Lord is only dealing with a remnant of those people. All right? Not all Israel is going to be saved at this moment. Not all Israel is going to hearken unto the word of the Lord. All right? Not all Israel is going to turn back to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai at this moment. All right? The Lord is only dealing with a remnant, starting with the 144,000 elect. Right? And the rest of the 1/3, they're also going to be saved. And the 2/3 of Israel, they're going to die on this side. All right? So now, these 2/3, they have a part to play in this whole movie, which is the Lord's movie. All right? And they are set up to do what? To be trodden down as the Maya in the streets. You know, this is what they here for. You know, they were created in vain. They were created as wood for the stubble, you know, for the fire. All right? This is what the majority of Israel was created for. Right? The enemy has someone to put to death, and is those 2/3 of Israel, the ones that refuse to turn back to the Lord. Right? So you had to pray and hope that Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai has your name written in the book of life. All right? So therefore you have to please Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, and you have to continue enduring to the end. All right? And Lord willing, you know, you will get that crown at the ending of all this. You know, Abarataza, we make it in that elect number. Okay? Let's come back here. Right, yeah, overview again on martial law. Right? Right, it says insurrection, widespread civil unrest, or major natural disasters, leading in the military to assume temporary control to restore order, right, and enforce laws, spending normal legal processes and civil liberties for national security or public safety. It's a response to a breakdown in civilian authority, often used when local forces can't manage overwhelming situations like riots, rebellious, or large-scale emergencies, right? And, you know, All these things is things that Esau looking to do before he bring forth this M.O.T.B, which is the mark of the beast, which is the RFID, total chip, right? This is what he's looking to bring forth, all right? It says some more things here. It says war, invasions, in time of armed conflict or foreign invasion to defend the nation, and Russia, China, these countries are going to invade Babylon very soon. They're going to take down Babylon, all right? They're going to destroy Babylon, a lot of other smaller countries. Because we see he going against Greenland, he's looking to go against Cuba, he's looking to go against a lot of different nations, right? Why? Because the pride in his mind, in his heart, he believed that no one could touch him, no one could do him anything, all right? This is how basically Trump is, all right? He believed that he is over everyone, all right? This one here, it says insurrection, rebellion to suppress large-scale domestic uprising or domestic warfare, civil unrest, civil riots, widespread civil disorder, or large strikes that overwhelm police, right? So you already know that he set things up already for, the army to come in to bring forth martial law and whatnot, but what they have to do, they have to bring forth situations in order to get it to that high level, so then they will be able to bring forth the martial law. That's why they brought forth these FEMA camps. This is why these Walmarts that they had closed down and whatnot, they convert them over to something to store people. They brought, a couple of years ago, they brought in a lot of body bags, to store people. There's a reason why Esau is doing these type of things. There's a reason why he's doing these things, because he has things in plan. He's putting things in place to come against the people. All right? And this is why we, as the men of the Lord, are out there to warn the people of what is there to come. All right? Because the famine of the word is coming to an end. Right? So like here, the famine of the word is coming very soon. All right? This word that we preaching right now to the lost sheep of Israel, you better get it while it's hot. You better get it while it's here. All right? Because when the Lord stop the prophets from preaching on the highways and byways, that's where you're gonna see all hell breaking loose. That's when the movie really kicks off. That's when lights, camera, and action starts. Right now, the Lord is basically preparing the stage for all these things to take place. All right? And this is where you have to turn back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, or else. All right? So Esau basically setting up things, to destroy Jake. All right? To bring martial law, to bring civil unrest, civil war. All right? This is Obadiah 1 and 3. It says, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And this is how this devil is. His habitation is high. He believed that, he's unstoppable. No one could touch him. No one could do him anything. All right? And the whole thing about it is, as the scriptures say, pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. So this devil is going to fall. Alright? They are going to fall. They are going to come down on the pedestal. Alright? Because the videos that are showed, it just showing you that the nation is basically going against each other, and as the scriptures say, if a nation can't stand, just roughly paraphrasing, it's Satan against Satan. How that nation, how that kingdom is going to stand. That kingdom is basically going and fall. Alright, is Matthew 12 and verse 25. It says, And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Right? And this is what we see in, the world, Esau Edom kingdom, Babylon Great, aka America, is basically against itself. Alright? The politicians getting on with each other,
Single one of you.
It's not every day you can walk into a
rioting taking place.
Let me be clear. If any law
the DA issues warning to ICE, so that's showing you that, these politicians, these people, they're not seeing eye to eye, and what's going to take place? Desolation, conflict, problems. Alright? It's just a matter of time. Okay? It says, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Alright? Because all these people, all these politicians and whatnot of this wicked kingdom today is basically like pillars holding the place up. But what going to take place? They're going to fall. Alright? So therefore the whole city is going to fall. The whole nation is going to start to crumble. Alright? And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then this kingdom stand? Right? So you're not going to see the kingdom stand. You're not going to see this queendom that Esau Edom is ruling over. You're not going to see it anymore. Alright? We're reaching to that point where Esau is basically out of here. We see in the calamities, we see in the destruction, we see in where the M.O.T.B is going to look to roll out very soon, because World War III is going to kick off very soon. Alright? But before World War III, the M.O.T.B has to take place. And before the M.O.T.B take place, civil unrest and all these things has to come forth. Famine. Alright, have to come forth. Alright, inflations and whatnot. These things has to come forth. And then you're going to reach to that where they will want to implement the M.O.T.B, which is the RFID total chip, to work together with their digital system. Right? So this is 2nd Ezra 9 and verse 7. Salakia is not this one I wanted. 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. Alright? It says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. Alright? Jacob and Esau is basically brothers. Esau is going back to who? To the the so-called white man. All right, Jacob goes back to who today? The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians today. All right, Esau got the blessing of the sword. All right, the dwelling that he is dwelling today. All right, and Jacob got the blessing in the kingdom. All right, the kingdom to come. Okay, and this is why Esau is so mad, and he's coming down with great wrath upon Jacob, because Esau wants the blessing back. All right, but the blessing is really not for him. All right, it says Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. It's just showing you the pulling on a stronghold. All right, taking down Esau by this word, by the spirit of the Lord's mouth. Right, it says for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Right, so Esau kingdom is basically almost out of here. All right, it's almost out of here. He's just basically kicking the can. All right, you have nothing else again on this side. All right, he's trying to fight for something that is basically not his. All right, so with that, we'll end it there. Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect of Israel. I'd like to give all praises and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. Shalom and Abad Babal.